Welcome to PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. I'm Kerry Pollock. Pleased to say I'm joined here with former Falkirk midfielder Michael McKenna. Michael, thanks so much for joining me here today.
Yeah, no problem.
First of all, then, let's start off. We're 2 games in to the league campaign. Tell me what you've thought of Falkirk's recent performances.
Um, I thought they were really good against Dundee United, especially it being their first game in the Premier League. There's probably a fair bit of anxiousness in amongst the players. It's a lot of their first time playing in that league, so it's a little bit apprehensive. But I think as the game settled on, they looked a threat and they just started looking like the team that they have been the last couple of years. And all the players, the attacking players that they've got going forward, they all started doing their thing. So I was quite impressed. On the second game against Livingston, it was a tough game, but again they started really well. I actually expected them to beat Livingston because there was a bit less pressure with the game being so early on in the season. A lot of the games last year against Livingston, it was at crucial times where Falkirk always had the lead in the league, so they could almost afford to not be as expansive and try and just match Livingston up. But I thought I was a little bit surprised at the result. But looking back at the game, I think they had chances Falkirk early on, and if they went and took a 1 goal or a 2 goal lead, I think that would have been a totally different game.
Yeah, this Friday then, they have the mammoth task of heading to Celtic Park, take on Celtic. You were involved in that game last year. It was a bit of a different feeling. You were getting into it with a 9-game unbeaten run. Just tell me,
Yeah,
before we get to this Friday, what was that like heading into that game and throughout it for you and the rest of the team?
yeah. Well, I think the players will have learnt a lot for that game because I mean, you always believe as a player, you do believe, but deep down, but when you go to Parkhead, although you're trying to talk to yourself and say, we believe we can get something here. Like John McGlynn did believe they could get something, and that's what the players need to tap into. He believes that they can match anyone up. The work they put into analysis and how they can hurt teams, it's probably unmatched with other teams in the league. So it's a mammoth task still, but going into that game, we were well coached and drilled, and we knew the game plan. But I think it wasn't until the game started unfolding, a lot of players were maybe thinking, by the way, we could actually do something here because we were causing Celtic a lot of threat, and a lot of the things that John had talked about where we could get joined the game. When you see that actually happening in real time, you start getting belief for that. So I think the players just they really need to buy into what he's saying. The work he puts in is, as I say, it's so much work he puts into things that as a player you have to buy into it and trust that he's done the hard work. So if you can try and take on the game plan and put that into practice.
You were obviously sent off in that game. Did you watch it back? Was that a red card when you
Never,
watched it
nah,
again?
it wasn't a red. It genuinely wasn't a red card and I felt. I mean, it's a state we were 5-2 down at the time. It was last minute, and I could feel like there's no point in going in hard like that. So there was no force in the tackle, but it looked quite high. And I can understand the referees. They can when you're in front of 60,000 people who are all shouting for something. It can maybe sway your mind a little bit. So I can understand why I got sent off, but nah, it's try and forget about it.
This Friday, then, what's going to be key for Falkirk? They've added a few players to their squad since that game last year. What's going to be key in pulling one over on Celtic?
Um, it's tough. You need everything to go in your favour because Celtic player for player are far superior to any team in the league. So, and that's any teams that have been there for years. So first of all you have to accept that and accept that right, if they turn up fully and play to their best of their ability, there's a great chance they'll win the game. But as I said to you before, you have to have a belief inside you that something can happen. The goalkeeper, he'll have to have a great game. The defence will have to be switched on. That's so important off the ball, being switched on at all times. And then if you can nick a goal, it's anything can happen in football. But you need Lady Luck on your side as well. A lot of things to go your way.
When you look at the playing staff that John McGlynn's got available to him, it's not dissimilar to the squads that came up from League One. How much more strengthening will he need to do to compete with the teams of the top flight this season?
Well, firstly, I think all the players have earned the right to play in the Premier League. What they've done for the last 2 years has been remarkable. I mean, League One they should probably have won League One, which they done, but they done it in a style which was unmatched and kind to go invincible. And then the Championship, they took that momentum on board into the Championship, which is a big step up for League One. And although they only won the league by 3 points, it felt a bit more comfortable than that. There was a stage where they were, I think, maybe 10 or 11 points in front with a superior goal difference. And there was a couple of last minute goals that made it a little more edgy, but they were way ahead last year. And they players deserve the right to go and give it a shot in the Premier League. He's obviously, he's strengthened as well. He's brought Brian Graham in, who's got experience in the Premier League, and he scores. Over the piece, he will score goals. That's what he does. And Scott Arfield, who's won the league, played down south, internationalist. They players will be really key to, especially in big games like this. They'll help the less experienced players in the big games. But they've got a really good sort of blend of youth there as well, and a lot of pace, which is so important. I think that pace can be used in the Premier League as well. There's no reason why that can't be used as a main threat going forward. So it's a lot tougher, but I think they'll still, in a lot of the games, they'll create chances, they'll take chances. I think it's more defensively having to be switched on at all times. I think that could be key next year.
You mentioned the pace of the team then. Ethan Ross, who obviously has been crucial to the success that Falkirk have had in recent years, he took a nasty knock against Livingston. How much of a blow is that going to be if he can't play his part on Friday night and then further on?
That'll be a massive blow. Because he's so direct. See, when he's running at you at pace, it's difficult to stop. And I hear a lot of people say, but it's up to the Premier League, it's a different level. We beat Hearts and Dundee United quite comfortably last year, who were Premier League sides, and boys like Ethan, Calvin Miller, Cal Morrison when he was there, and even Alfie Ayeman, they're all so direct, and that's difficult to play against. Ask any fullback. So I think they'll miss him, but it gives an opportunity to another member of the squad to step up. And last year they done that. Anytime somebody got a chance to come into the squad, they done it. So hopefully they can do that again this time.
You've been in that dressing room, obviously. First year in the Premiership this season. Where will the guys in there have their sights set on in terms of finishing this year? Will it be a top half finish? Will it be more survival? What do you think?
Yeah, I'd imagine survival. If they can go and stay in this league financially, it'd be massive for the club, and then they can build on that. But I don't think there'd be obviously anything above that. So you take it as a bonus, but I don't think they'll be aiming too high just now. It's trying to get yourself settled in this league, and a lot of players will gain experience week to week playing in the Premier League. And I think surviving in this season's a huge achievement for the staff and the players. So I think that'll be their aim.
Finally then, how much belief will this squad have going into Friday night? Do you feel that they can pull one over on Brendan Rodgers' side?
I think given how the League Cup game went, I know we got in the end it ended up quite comfortable, but to lead Celtic twice at Parkhead and to take it quite late on. Brendan Rodgers came into the dressing room after and apologised to us to say, sorry, I had to bring on £30 million worth of players to try and get this game won, because we were winning 2-1 at the time, and I think he brought on Ida, Engels and Greg Taylor, maybe someone else. So, Falkirk will have gained Celtic's respect massively. So, it'll be an even tougher game this time, I think, because as I said the last time, they'll see Falkirk as a proper threat now. So they'll have maybe done a bit more homework and take them a bit more seriously. But I think they can do it with the management and the staff that they've got and the players. If they can get an early goal, I think they could score. So it's, as I said to you, I've reiterated a few times, it's defensively it's going to be so difficult. It's not even physically, it's mentally switching on for 90 minutes. It could take one little second of no concentration and it's a goal. And that's what it was like at Parkhead last time. The goal, they scored 3 in 5 minutes. You've not even had a chance to digest the first goal, and they've scored 3. So it's so difficult. But I really hope they can do it.
And it's coming up against, obviously, not only the teams on the pitch, but as you mentioned, the 60, 50,000 supporters that are surrounding you as well.
I've never heard a noise like it. When they got the equaliser in the third straight away, you didn't even have a chance to. You're kind of thinking, what's just happened there? they scored the equaliser to go 2-2, and a minute later, I mean, the crowd are still going, and then it's 3-2, and it's like, you can't hear yourself think. To try and play in that is so difficult. It's so difficult, but that's why Celtic use that as the advantage, and even in Europe, they can beat some of the top teams in the world. So it's a mammoth task for Falkirk, but I hope they can do it.
Well, obviously, you'll have your fingers crossed. It is cup competition, as you know, anything can happen. Michael, thank you so much for joining me here today.
No problem.